rug can be pulled from under your feet quite quick at any point. It takes you into some pretty gelled and loved being in those sorts of cauldron of fear, noise, and to highlight wonderful people doing incredible things as we've...
Listen, Harry's not just flying to London to visit his family. He's on that private airplane and he's really worried. And people say this trip wasn't planned at all. Something made him decide to go. News came to his home in Montecito that things inside Buckingham Palace were happening quickly, and it wasn't good for him. We're talking about the titles that show who he is, who his children are, and honestly, the last real connection to the royal world he left behind. The moment Harry heard rumors from palace workers, his whole team got upset. He wanted the first airplane out, no announcements, no public relations talk. Have you noticed Prince William setting up his own news team? His own big expensive royal projects? Even his own? Just him racing across the ocean on what might be the most worried trip of his life. And here's the surprising part. The person he's rushing to talk to isn't even his father. It's his brother. Because while King Charles is quietly dealing with his sickness and staying away from arguments, Prince William has taken control. And William has made it very clear he's finished playing games. Palace rumors say Harry wants a meeting in person with both his father and brother before anything becomes official. He's even ready to say he made mistakes, hoping that might give him one last chance. But here's the thing. Buckingham Palace hasn't said a word about Harry's visit. Do you know what's interesting when you think about it with the Sussexes? They do seem to sort of attach themselves to whatever's popular. You know, no welcome, no confirmation, nothing. And when the palace goes quiet, it usually means one thing. They're not happy he's coming. But what's really happening behind those palace walls is way bigger than anyone knows. If you want to see how this all works out, hit subscribe and the notification bell because what William's planning and what we're about to tell you, you won't believe it. Drop a like and let's start. Behind those palace walls, something big has been changing and most people have no idea. Charles might still wear the crown, but William, he's the one actually running things. If I speak for Botswana, Harry can speak for Lesotho, but from Lesotho. I mean, it was fantastic to get the chance to go back. Workers have started calling this the pre-succession period, which is basically royal code for William's already making the decisions. Charles's sickness has made him softer, quieter, more emotional about family. But William isn't interested in feelings right now. He's focused on results. Palace workers say they're getting direction from the heir these days, not the king. It's not official. Nobody's announced anything, but everyone inside knows who's really steering the ship. People describe it as this quiet change where suddenly William's the one people check with before making decisions. Breaking right now, the British royal family stuck in one of its biggest problems in history. Charles still gets told about everything, but the real conversations, those are happening in William's office now. One worker reportedly said, it's like watching power transfer in slow motion. Charles will suggest something and workers will nod politely, then quietly ask William what he actually wants done. It sounds harsh, but that's the reality when a king's dealing with serious health problems. And the heir's right there, healthy, energetic, and ready to take charge. Get this, William's approach is completely different from his father's. Charles looks at the royal family and sees his sons, his memories, his heart. There is no money crisis for the royal family. It's taxpayers' money. Your money, it's my money, it's the viewers' money. He sees the little boys who lost their mother and the family dinners that used to be. He remembers when things were simpler, when the family was together, when Harry was still the spare. Who showed up at events with that playful smile everyone loved? William looks at it and sees a business that's been losing reputation for years. He doesn't have the luxury of memories. He's the one who's going to end up wearing that crown and he's watching it fall apart. Under the weight of constant drama, every scandal, every tell-all interview, every Netflix confession, it all damages the brand. Pretty harsh. I don't see it as harsh at all. You know, my brother and I love each other. And to William, that's exactly what the monarchy is, a brand that needs protection. He's not here for the warm and fuzzy family reunion story. He's here to stop the bleeding. Listen, palace workers say William's personality is just different from his father's. Charles has always been the emotional one, the one who wants everyone to make peace and find common ground. He spent years trying to close gaps, smooth over tensions, keep everyone happy. That's just who he is. William's more like his grandmother was, cold when he needs to be, decisive, firm. For over 3 decades, it was locked away, hidden behind the walls of Balmoral Castle. When he makes a decision, it's final. There's no endless discussions, no second guessing, no hoping people will just figure it out on their own. People say William's been watching this family drama happen for years now, and somewhere along the way, he stopped seeing it as family problems and started seeing it as business problems. And business problems need business solutions. He's reportedly told people close to him that the monarchy can't survive on feelings alone. It needs structure, boundaries, consequences. Royal family stuck in one of its biggest problems in history. Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, and here's the thing. It needs people to understand that being royal isn't just a title you get to keep. No matter what you do, it comes with responsibilities. And if you're not willing to do those responsibilities, then maybe you shouldn't have the benefits either. That's William's mindset. It's not cruel. It's practical. At least that's how he sees it. So, while Charles is dealing with his health and hoping everyone can just get along, William's the one sitting down with his inner circle and reshaping how this whole operation works. The crown is shaking tonight, and it's Prince William who's just confirmed it. 6 minutes ago, standing before the ancient stone. He's not talking about forgiveness or second chances. He's talking about survival, about what the monarchy needs to look like in 5 years, 10 years. Beyond, he's looking at other royal families around Europe, seeing which ones are doing well and which ones are fading into unimportance. And he's determined the British monarchy won't be the one that collapses under its own drama. In William's vision, there's no room for chaos. No space for family members who keep making headlines for the wrong reasons. Now, here's what people don't realize. William's not just reacting to current drama. He's thinking about his own kids. George is going to be king someday. Pattern. Harry says one thing and does another. Whether it's sharing private conversations to the press, throwing family. Charlotte and Louis are going to be working royals. What kind of monarchy is he handing them? One that's constantly dealing with family members sharing problems on camera. One where the public's rolling their eyes every time they see a royal headline. William refuses to let that be his legacy. Charles might still hold on to hope that his family can heal, that given enough time and space, everyone will find their way back to each other. William's already moved past that. He's building something different, something stronger. And he doesn't care who gets left behind in the process. That's the William running the palace right now. There is no money crisis for the royal family. It's taxpayers' money. It's your money. It's my money. It's the viewers' money. And that's the William Harry's flying across an ocean to face. But here's where William's patience finally stopped. 2 words, the Yorks. Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson have turned royal embarrassment into an absolute art form. At this point, and just when everyone thought that whole Epstein mess was finally dying down, it's back in the headlines. Bigger, messier, and way more damaging than before. Behind palace doors, whispers say there's more coming. More emails, more connections, more details that tie Andrew, not just socially to Epstein, but financially, too. Prince William has finally had enough. Enough is enough. He has told. And get this, there are even rumors going around about some seriously messy complications tied to the whole situation. If any of that's true, we're talking about a scandal that doesn't just embarrass the family. It ties them to something way darker. And then there's Fergie. Listen, workers claim she allegedly took over $2 million from Epstein. Possibly way more than that. Some people say Epstein quietly paid for her lifestyle for nearly 15 years. 15 years? If that's accurate, it means she wasn't just looking the other way while her ex-husband hung around questionable people. A meeting between Prince William and the Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie saying she was allegedly letting Epstein's money pay for her life, which means the royal name was basically being supported by scandal money. That's the part that makes William absolutely furious, because it's not just about bad judgment anymore. It's about the family name being tied to something he can't defend, can't spin, can't explain away. Now, picture William sitting at Kensington Palace, reading all this as it happens. His jaw's tight, his mind's racing, and he's realizing something that nobody else wants to admit. The rot isn't just in the tabloids. It's inside the family. Prince William's idea to get this all done, at once really shows the determination. So, he does what nobody else has the guts to do. He starts making moves. Here's the thing. William knows that if he doesn't deal with this now, it's never going to stop. One scandal leads to another. One excuse becomes a pattern. And before you know it, the whole monarchy is drowning in drama it can't escape. The Yorks have shown him exactly what happens when you let things slide. When you put family loyalty over accountability. And here's where it gets really calculated. People say William realized something important. You are bereaved at a very young age. Any time really, but particularly at a young age, I can relate closely to that. You feel pain like no other pain. And if he handles the York situation first, it sets the tone for how other situations get handled moving forward. He's not thinking about one problem at a time. He's thinking about the entire system, about showing that being royal comes with real consequences. When you mess up this badly, it's like a domino effect that nobody outside the palace saw coming. Clean up one mess decisively, and suddenly you've got a plan for handling the next one and the next one after that. William's playing chess while everyone else is still trying to figure out the rules of checkers. Palace workers reportedly say, "It is my view that the deceitful way the interview was obtained substantially influenced what my mother said." William's been privately furious about the York situation for months, maybe even years. But with Charles sick and unable to make tough decisions, William finally has the opening he needs to do something about it. He's not asking permission anymore. He's making decisions. And those decisions are reshaping what it actually means to be a working royal versus just someone born into the family. In William's mind, if you're not representing the crown properly, if you're actively damaging it, then why should you keep all the perks that come with the title? As my heir, William now takes the Scottish titles which have meant so much to me. It's that simple to him. The monarchy isn't a safety net for family members who can't stay out of trouble. It's a working institution that needs protecting. What William's doing here is bigger than just dealing with Andrew and Fergie. He's using their mess to establish that things are different now. That the old way of handling scandals. Ignore it, wait for it to blow over. Hope the public forgets. That's done. Finished. William's building something new where actions actually have consequences. Where the family name isn't just something you get to hide behind when things go wrong. And while Charles is too sick and too emotional to draw those hard lines, this morning, Prince Harry back in Britain working the crowds and spending time with cousins close to his heart. William isn't. He's ready to make the tough decisions his father can't. Which brings us right back to why Harry's on that plane in full panic mode. Because if William's willing to come down this hard on his own uncle, what's he planning for his brother? Meanwhile, across the ocean in Montecito, Meghan's doing what she does best. Turning headlines into business opportunities. People say she's getting ready to launch her very own makeup line. And this move is reportedly sending Buckingham Palace into quiet chaos. Because here's the thing. The late Queen told her clearly not to use royal connections for business profit. Windsor Castle has just confirmed that he died this morning. His health had been getting worse in recent months with several visits to the hospital. That was one of the firm rules. But Meghan, she's pushing right up against that line. And some workers say she might have found a way around it entirely. Get this. Allegedly, Meghan's reportedly changed her last name, not just casually, but for real. To Duchess of Sussex, not as a title anymore, but as an actual last name. So, even if the palace decides to take away the title itself, she can still put her name on business deals as Meghan Duchess of Sussex. It's bold. It's clever. It's pure Hollywood strategy wrapped in royal silk. She's basically protecting her brand before anyone can touch it. It was not the decision. We thought it was going to go our way, but it certainly has. I have a huge amount of sympathy and compassion. And William, he's reportedly not happy at all. Palace workers whisper that William's already moving behind the scenes to distance the royal name from any business ventures Meghan's planning. Translation: if Meghan tries to put that Duchess name on lipsticks or beauty products, William's team is working to make it very clear there's no royal connection involved. She might be able to use her name, but they're going to make sure everyone knows this isn't royally approved. It's this whole cat and mouse game happening in real time, and both sides know exactly what they're doing. In a shocking moment, Prince William and Prince Harry were left completely shattered by a discovery they never saw coming. And then there's the Diana jewelry situation. You know how Meghan used to wear that gorgeous watch that belonged to Princess Diana, the one she'd casually have on in interviews and photos, reminding everyone of her connection to William and Harry's late mother. Yeah, that's gone now. Apparently, William put his foot down hard on that one. No more royal heirlooms being used as fashion statements or subtle reminders of family ties. People say he quietly demanded certain pieces back. And when William makes that kind of demand, it's not really a request. So now you've got Meghan and Montecito reportedly upset behind those perfect glass walls and beautifully cared for gardens. Listen, Prince Harry could lose everything. He's not flying to London for tea and cookies. He's on that jet in full. She's built this entire brand around being the Duchess, around that royal connection. And now William's slowly taking apart every way she has to profit from it. Every Instagram post, every product launch, every business venture. William's team is apparently watching all of it, ready to draw clear lines between what's royal and what's just Meghan Markle, businesswoman. Listen, the late Queen warned her not to play this game. She made it very clear that you can't be half in and half out of royal life. The other big news of the week, of course, is after a day of will they or won't they? Prince Harry arrived at Clarence's house for a meeting. You can't step back from duties, but keep all the sparkle and prestige that comes with the title. But Meghan's trying anyway, and she's doing it in the most strategic way possible. She's not technically breaking any rules. She's just dancing right along the edge of them, building an empire on the name recognition she got from marrying into the family, even as that family desperately wants to cut ties. William sees right through it, though. To him, this is exactly the problem. Meghan and Harry wanted freedom from royal responsibilities, wanted to make their own money, live their own lives. Behind the scenes, there was tension between King Charles. Fine, but they also wanted to keep the titles, keep the prestige, keep using that royal connection whenever it suited them. And in William's mind, that's not how this works. You're either in or you're out. You either serve the crown or you don't. There's no middle ground where you get to trash the family on Netflix and then use your royal title to sell products. The tension here is absolutely wild because both of them think they're right. Meghan thinks she earned that title by marrying Harry, by dealing with the press, by playing the royal game for as long as she did. In her mind, this must be in the 50s. She should get to keep her name and use it however she wants. William thinks the title belongs to the institution, not to the person. And the moment you stop serving that institution, you lose the right to benefit from it. Two completely different ways of thinking crashing into each other, and neither one's backing down. So, while Harry's mid-flight trying to save what's left of their royal status, Meghan's on the ground racing to build something that can survive without it, just in case Harry's mission fails. Back in London, the temperature drops every time those two names get mentioned in the same sentence. When Harry learned what William was planning, people say he went into full crisis mode. I think both of us. He's definitely got more brains than me. I think we've established that from school. But when it comes to all that, I think hand. I'm much better hand. Forget emails. Forget phone calls. He needs to see his brother face to face. The plan, apologize, appeal to family, maybe even beg if that's what it takes. Harry's reportedly holding on to this belief that if he can just sit down with William and Charles, if they can talk like brothers, maybe things can be fixed. But here's the thing. Palace workers are brutally honest about William's mindset. He's not interested in tears. He's interested in results. One palace worker allegedly put it like this. William doesn't want explanations. He wants change. If Harry wants mercy, he's going to have to prove it. He has to, as you say. He has to uphold the traditions of the crown and do what is best for the monarchy. And what's best for? Stop the public attacks. Pull back on the tell-all interviews. Distance himself from Meghan's business projects. Basically become the quiet, respectful royal he once refused to be. Now, imagine that conversation actually happening. On one side, you've got Harry, desperate, emotional, still believing family loyalty should come before everything else. He's thinking about their childhood, their mother, all those years they had each other's backs. In his mind, brothers are supposed to forgive each other. That's what family means. On the other side sits William, the future king, cold and calculated. treating his own brother like a public relations problem that needs managing. To William, this isn't about feelings anymore. It's about protecting an institution that's bigger than both of them. People whisper that if this meeting actually happens, it could be the coldest conversation in Windsor history. Harry's coming to the table thinking he can appeal to William's heart, to their shared past. But William's already made up his mind that feelings are a weakness the monarchy can't afford right now. He's not coming to this as Harry's brother. He's coming as the heir who's watched Harry's choices damage everything William spent his life protecting. Prince William breaks into tears as Prince Harry finally reveals how much he still loves him. Get this, palace workers are reportedly dreading this meeting because they know how differently these to see the world now. Harry thinks he's been standing up for himself, refusing to let the institution break him the way it allegedly broke their mother. He walked away from a toxic situation, and he doesn't understand why that makes him the villain. Every interview, every revelation, he sees it as honesty. William sees it completely differently. To him, Harry was born into responsibilities that came with privileges and wealth, and then decided he wanted all the benefits without any of the work. And worse, he's been publicly trashing the family ever since. His face was tired, his hands shaking slightly as he held the one object that had remained sealed for death. Every Netflix episode, every book chapter, it all damages the crown. And William can't forgive that. Listen, what makes this situation impossible is that both brothers think they're protecting what matters most. Harry thinks he's protecting his wife and kids from the same media circus that he believes contributed to his mother's death. William thinks he's protecting the monarchy itself, the institution that employs thousands, supports charities, represents British history. William has made a shock threat to his cousins, the princesses, Beatrice, and to him. One couple's happiness doesn't justify tearing down something that's lasted 1,000 years. So, when Harry walks into that room hoping for understanding, he's facing a brother who's already decided understanding isn't the point. William's conditions are simple. Stop the damage or lose everything. No middle ground. It's that simple. You're either with the family or against it. Palace workers say William spent months hardening his heart against Harry's excuses. He's heard it all before. Here's what nobody's talking about, though. If William bends now, what message does that send? That you can damage the family however you want and there are no consequences. King Charles has reportedly ended his marriage to Queen Consort Camilla, and the palace is in shock. William can't allow that. Not when he's thinking about George, Charlotte, Louis. But if William doesn't bend, then this becomes the moment the Windsor brothers officially, permanently split. No coming back from it. So Harry's flying into a situation where he's either going to have to completely surrender and fall in line or lose everything that connects him to the world he was born into. That's why palace workers are whispering this could decide the monarchy's future. Because one way or another, after this meeting, nothing's ever going to be the same. Picture King Charles sitting alone in his study, teacup shaking in his hands. Did you notice Queen Elizabeth II publicly scolding Prince William? This is why William secretly cried at her funeral. At the Queen, he's not just battling his sickness. He's battling something way harder. The choice between his son and his crown. On one hand, his heart still aches for Harry, the son who lost his mother way too young. The boy who never really found his place in royal life. Charles sees all of that and part of him just wants to hug Harry and tell him everything's going to be okay. On the other hand, there's the crown, the institution that's defined Charles's entire existence. And that crown demands stability. It demands that personal feelings take a back seat. Where do you draw the line? Because I think that, he's been removed from public life essentially. He's to what's best for the monarchy. So, Charles is stuck watching his two sons tear each other apart while he's too weak to step between them. Here's the thing. Word inside the palace is that Charles has become this quiet peacekeeper, whispering about reconciliation, hoping someone will find a way to bridge the gap. But his whispers don't carry much weight anymore. Not when William's already making decisions, reshaping the entire family dynamic. Charles can suggest all he wants, but William's the one with the energy and ruthless determination to actually follow through. If your mother were still alive, do you ever think about how she might handle this moment? She wouldn't have built. And get this, People say people close to the palace have been expressing worries to Charles about how all this looks. The public's patience is wearing thin with constant family drama. Every new Sussex headline chips away at the crown's reputation. Charles hears these concerns, feels the pressure building, but he's too drained to do much about it. So now Charles faces this brutal choice. Does he protect Harry and prove that family loyalty means something? Or does he protect the institution his mother spent 70 years perfecting? When Charles looks at William, he sees a future. I have already informed William that he will take the throne next year. This decision, strong, decisive, ready to do whatever it takes. When he looks at Harry, he sees a past, emotional, unpredictable. Stuck in pain he can't seem to move beyond. Listen. Palace workers describe Charles as genuinely heartbroken. In his ideal world, his sons would have worked things out years ago. The grandkids would know each other, spend holidays together, be actual cousins instead of strangers on different continents. That's the future Charles dreamed of. That's what he's sad about losing. But his sickness has changed everything. It turns out there's more than what they've just shared in the documentary series. And in the interview, apparently, back in 2019, William and Harry got into a physical fight. He doesn't have the energy for the long game anymore. Things have gotten worse too far too fast. The public statements, the book, the interviews. It's all created this point of no return that Charles is too exhausted to handle. So, by default, William's taken over and William's approach is nothing like what Charles would have chosen. People say there are moments when Charles just sits quietly, staring out the window, looking older than his years. He's thinking about Diana, probably wondering what she'd say about all this. Wondering if she'd be proud of Harry for choosing his own happiness, or disappointed that he walked away. Breaking news. Prince Harry has finally come back to the UK, and rumor has it he and Prince William have reached. Charles carries the weight of both his sons' pain, both their anger. Here's what makes it even worse. Charles knows that in the royal world, legacy always wins. Always. It doesn't matter how much he loves Harry. At the end of the day, his job isn't to be a good father. His job is to be a good king. And good kings sacrifice personal happiness for institutional stability. They put the crown above everything else, even their own children. But the reality is he doesn't have to make the choice himself. His sickness has given him this strange kind of out. William's making the tough decisions, being the bad guy. King Charles, I'm going to say this straight. Don't make the biggest mistake of your life, abdicate. Charles can keep his role as the loving father who wishes things were different. It's almost easier this way. He doesn't have to actively choose between Harry and the crown, because William's already made that choice for him. That's the sad truth nobody's saying out loud. Charles isn't strong enough to save Harry, and even if he was, he's not sure he would. Because in that palace, when you're forced to choose between love and legacy, legacy wins every single time. Let's talk about what actually happens when those titles disappear. Because this isn't just about hurt feelings anymore. At King Charles's coronation, Prince William made a surprising move that left Camilla disgraced. According to the royal, this is about money. Real money. The kind that pays for private jets and security teams and that massive Montecito mansion. And here's the thing, Harry and Meghan's entire brand value is built on those three words. Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Entertainment industry workers have been pretty blunt about this. Those massive Netflix deals. Book contracts worth millions. Speaking events that pay six figures. None of that was really about Harry and Meghan as individuals. It was about the titles. Companies weren't paying for Harry Windsor and Meghan Markle. Breaking news. Why did Prince William start growing a beard again after 16 years? The Prince of Wales, who appeared before the cameras with, they were paying for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, for the royal connection, the palace intrigue, the insider access. Get this, people in the entertainment business say there's actually a term for this. They call it the royal premium. It's the extra zeros that get added to a contract just because someone can put Duke or Duchess in front of their name. A celebrity book might get $1 million advance. A royal book gets $10 million. The math is simple, brutal, and completely dependent on keeping that royal status. I won't be the next king. People always think that the one who desperately wants to escape royal life is Harry. But the one who really wants to escape is always. But the moment those titles go away. So does the premium? Suddenly, you're just another celebrity couple with opinions and a podcast. And there are thousands of those. Industry workers whisper that without the titles, Harry and Meghan's brand value could drop by 70 or 80%. Maybe more. Listen, think about their Netflix deal. The reported number was around $100 million. But Netflix wasn't just buying content. They were buying access to royal family drama, behind-the-scenes stories, the perspective of people who lived inside palace walls. Did you notice Prince Andrew trying to approach Prince William? One of William's gestures made the situation instantly awkward for Andrew. If Harry's not the Duke of Sussex anymore, what's left? Just another documentary series by a celebrity couple. Netflix already has dozens of those. Same with the book deals. Harry's book, Spare, sold millions of copies, broke records. But people weren't buying it to hear from Harry Windsor, private citizen. They were buying it to hear from Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, the guy who grew up in palaces. Take away the title and suddenly the sequel becomes way less interesting. Here's where it gets complicated. Security costs. When you're working royals, the crown covers your security, reportedly millions per year. Do you know how bad Prince William's temper can be? To the public, he's a charming, refined, perfect prince. But the real William has quite a temper. The moment you step back, you're paying for it yourself. People estimate they're probably spending several million a year just keeping themselves and their kids safe. Add in the Montecito mansion, property taxes, worker salaries, travel expenses, public relations teams. It all adds up fast. And none of it gets cheaper when your earning potential drops by 70%. Now, here's what nobody wants to say out loud. If William takes away the titles, Harry and Meghan might actually be in financial trouble within a few years. I would love reconciliation with my family. There's no point in not broke exactly, but definitely not living at the level they've been keeping. They have to downsize, cut workers, maybe renegotiate contracts because companies might start feeling like they didn't get what they paid for. Get this. Industry workers have started quietly guessing about what comes next if the titles disappear. Maybe they change to lifestyle content, competing with every other celebrity influencer. Maybe they lean into activism. Maybe Meghan goes full Hollywood. Maybe Harry writes another book, though without the royal angle. Publishers won't be throwing 8-figure advances at him. Let's take a look at the line of succession to the British throne. Of course, Prince Charles, the Queen's firstborn, becomes king. The cruel reality is that their entire strategy was built on keeping one foot in the royal world. While living outside of it, they wanted freedom from duties, but not from benefits. And for a while, it worked. But William's about to call that bluff. He's saying you can't have it both ways. You're either royal with all the responsibilities or you're not. And if you're not, stop selling yourselves as if you are. That's what's really at stake in Harry's emergency flight. It's not just about family reconciliation. It's about the entire financial foundation of their lives in America. I don't know how staying silent is ever going to make things better. Wouldn't your brother say to you, without those titles, everything changes? The deals get smaller. The invitations dry up. The market value drops. Losing those titles could be absolutely devastating. And William knows it. That's exactly why he's threatening to take them away. So, here's where everything comes to a head. The final 72 hours before a decision like this doesn't just happen overnight. People say there's this whole timeline of events. These small moments that add up to something massive. Palace workers have allegedly been preparing for this possibility for weeks, maybe months. Updating systems. It brings unimaginable sadness to know that the BBC's failures contributed significantly to her fear. Preparing statements, making sure everything's in place for the moment William gives a final word. And when that word comes, when William finally decides this is happening, it all moves fast. Workers describe it as this strange quiet that falls over the palace. No dramatic announcements, no press conferences, no fanfare, just people doing their jobs. Clicking buttons, updating files, removing names from pages. It's clinical, efficient, almost cold in how smoothly it all happens. Meghan Markle, you've broken my son. I will not pretend anymore. The world deserves the truth, because this isn't about emotion anymore. This is about getting it done. Get this. The royal website is apparently where most people would notice it first. One day you visit the site and the Duke and Duchess of Sussex are listed right there, with their photos, their titles, their roles. The next day they're just gone. No explanation, no announcement on the homepage, just an absence where they used to be. Like they were never part of the family at all. People who follow this stuff say this is how the monarchy handles these things, quietly, efficiently. No mess, no drama, just a clean edit and move forward. Prince William allegedly told King Charles that he would have to pay to stay in his holiday house in Wales. Charles was reportedly disappointed when William told him. For Harry and Meghan sitting in Montecito, imagine refreshing that page and seeing your entire identity erased. Years of your life, your marriage, your children's heritage, all shown by your absence from a website. People say Meghan would probably see it first, scrolling through her phone in the morning California time while London's already moved on. That moment of disbelief, checking again, maybe calling someone to confirm it's real. Because even when you know it's coming, even when you've been warned, seeing it actually happen is different. Harry becomes Henry Charles Albert David Mountbatten Windsor, just another guy with a really long name. Meghan becomes Mrs. Mountbatten Windsor. Prince Harry and Prince William's private text messages have been revealed after the Duke of Sussex reached out to his brother when, and Archie and Lilibet. They lose their prince and princess titles before they're even old enough to understand what those titles meant. Workers say that's the part that might actually hurt Harry the most. Not losing his own title, but watching his kids lose theirs. Because in his mind, he was protecting them by leaving. And now they're losing something he can never give back. Listen, think about what this means for those kids' lives. Archie's going to grow up hearing stories about how his dad was a prince, how his grandmother was Princess Diana, how his cousins are going to be king and princess one day. Why has it been so long since the Pope and a British monarch have prayed together? Well, it's all because of this guy, Henry VIII, the Tudor king with many wives. But he won't be part of that world anymore. Not officially. He'll be the cousin who lives in America, the one who shows up in old family photos but isn't in the new ones, the one everyone whispers about at family gatherings that he's not invited to. Here's where it gets really heartbreaking. People say the moment those titles disappear, so does a lot of the connection to the royal family. No more Christmas at Sandringham, even if they wanted to go. No more balcony appearances during Trooping the Colour. No more anything that marks them as working members of the family. Prince William is reportedly upset over Prince Harry's $8.5 million inheritance. On his 40th birthday on Sunday, they become private citizens who happen to be related to royals. That's it. That's all that's left. Palace workers reportedly say William's thought through every detail of this. He knows exactly what he's doing and what it means. This isn't something that can be undone with an apology later. This is permanent, final. The kind of decision that defines how history remembers this entire family drama. William's basically drawing a line in the sand that says, this is where forgiveness ends and consequences begin. Now, picture the morning after it all goes through in all the girls' rooms. I was here. You told me that. William wakes up in Kensington Palace, checks his phone, sees that everything's been updated as planned. He's probably relieved it's done. Satisfied he finally took action after years of watching from the sidelines. Maybe there's a moment where he thinks about Harry, about their childhood, about everything they've lost. But then he pushes that aside because feelings are a luxury he can't afford. He's got a monarchy to run, kids to raise, a future to protect. And in his mind, he just did what needed to be done. Charles wakes up knowing his family will never be whole again, that the grandkids will grow up strangers to each other. Despite the Duke of Sussex flying almost 11 hours to see his father, following his shock cancer diagnosis, Prince, that whatever relationship he had with Harry is fundamentally changed forever. But he's too weak to fight it, too tired to undo what William's put in motion. So he just accepts it, this new reality where one of his sons is officially on the outside. And Harry wakes up in California to the realization that his emergency trip didn't change anything. That his face-to-face meeting, his apologies, his desperate attempts to save what's left, none of it mattered. William had already made up his mind before Harry ever got on that plane. The titles are gone, the connection is cut, and there's no going back from this. Prince Harry and King Charles's emotional face-to-face meeting reportedly included hugs and tears. According to an insider, the private, he spent years trying to figure out who he is outside of being a royal. And now he's going to find out whether the answer to that question is enough to build a life on. Get this. Palace workers allegedly say the weirdest part is how normal everything feels the day after. The palace keeps running. Events keep happening. The family keeps appearing in public, smiling and waving like nothing's changed. Because for them, maybe nothing has. Harry and Meghan were already living in America, already stepped back from duties. This just makes it official. Prince Harry has officially reunited with his father, King Charles, at Clarence House, marking the first time the pair have come face to face. But for Harry, everything's changed. His last thread connecting him to the world he was born into is gone, and he's left standing in Montecito, wondering how it all fell apart so completely. People whisper that this is the moment the monarchy fundamentally shifts. William sending a message that's going to echo for generations. That being born royal isn't enough. That family loyalty only goes so far. That if you damage the institution, there are real consequences even for princes. It's cold. It's ruthless. But in William's mind, it's necessary. Prince Harry was there, all smiles by himself. Interesting seating arrangement. You know, they really put him off to the side, past them. The alternative was watching the monarchy slowly collapse under the weight of constant drama. And he wasn't willing to let that happen. Not on his watch. So, as dawn breaks over Buckingham Palace, one era ends and another begins. The age of second chances and endless patience is over. The age of accountability and hard boundaries has arrived. And standing at the center of it all is William, with steady hands and ice in his veins, proving he's not waiting for the throne anymore. He's already claimed it. The crown survived. This is the first time that the king has attended an official event for the LGBT community but the family didn't make it through intact. And everyone involved is going to have to live with that reality for the rest of their lives. So here's where we are. Harry's plane has landed, or maybe it's still in the air. Either way, it doesn't really matter whether he makes it to that meeting or not, because the truth is this was decided long before he ever buckled his seat belt. William made up his mind months ago, maybe even years ago. And once William decides something, it's done. There's no amount of begging, no childhood memories, no bringing up how they used to be brothers that's going to change it. Get this. This isn't just about two brothers fighting. This is about what the monarchy becomes. It was terrifying to have my brother scream and shout at me and my father say things that just simply weren't true. And moving forward, William's building something different here. Something colder maybe, but definitely stronger. He's proving that feelings can't run an institution. That family drama can't be allowed to destroy 1,000 years of history. And that sometimes protecting what matters means cutting off the people you love. It's brutal, but in William's world, it's necessary. Meanwhile, Meghan's in Montecito, probably finishing her business plans, building her empire with or without the royal connection. She's not waiting around to see how Harry's meeting goes. Oh, Michael didn't maintain. Do you remember your little brother being that must have been? She's already planning for the future where those titles are gone. And they have to make it work anyway. That's just smart. That's someone who's not going to let her family's security depend on William's mercy. And Charles is just trying to get through each day with his health failing and his family falling apart. He's the one who probably wishes things could be different more than anyone. But wishing doesn't change reality. And the reality is his sickness has handed William the power to reshape everything. Charles might wear the crown, but William's the one making the decisions that'll define this era. We have had a statement in the last few minutes from Buckingham Palace, who are as clear as they can be. All of these issues have been exactly. Listen, what makes this whole situation so tragic is that everyone thinks they're right. Harry thinks he's protecting his family. William thinks he's protecting the monarchy. Meghan thinks she's building independence. Charles thinks he's trying to keep peace. They're all acting from their own version of truth, their own understanding of what matters most. And that's exactly why there's no solution here. No compromise that makes everyone happy. Someone has to lose. And right now it's looking like that someone is Harry. Here's the thing nobody can answer yet. Can Harry and Meghan actually? I hope we don't go back to some of the practices in the past that you know, Harry. and I had to grow up in, and I'll do everything I can to survive losing the titles. Can their brand hold up without the royal connection? Can they keep their lifestyle, their security, their importance? Or are we watching the beginning of a slow decline into unimportance for the Sussexes? The next few years are going to tell that story. Either they prove they never needed the titles in the first place, or they prove William was right all along, that everything they had was built on a connection they no longer deserve. Now, here's what we know for sure. The monarchy is changing. William's version of what it means to be royal is taking over. And that version has no room for people who want the benefits without the responsibilities. No space for family members who treat their titles like a business opportunity. No tolerance for drama that threatens the institution's survival. It's a colder monarchy, maybe less forgiving, definitely, but probably stronger for it. So, as the sun rises over both Buckingham Palace and Montecito, separated by an ocean and a million unspoken words, one thing becomes impossible to ignore. Harry broke down the moment he opened Charles's final inheritance letter. No land, no titles, no heirlooms, just a handwritten note. This family is broken in a way that can't be fixed. The Windsor brothers have become history's coldest royal split. And whether Harry's emergency mission succeeds or fails, whether that face-to-face meeting happens or doesn't, the damage is already done. The titles might stay or go, but the relationship, that's already gone, and everyone involved knows it, even if they're not ready to admit it yet. So, what do you think about all this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to stay updated on what happens next, hit subscribe and turn on notifications because this situation's changing fast. I'll see you in the next one.